In Luke 15, verses 11 through 32, we find one of Jesus' most well-known and most beloved parables. It is the climax of the three parables that we find in Luke chapter 15, and it is also the most pointed of the three. To fully understand this story, we need to be aware of the context and the culture of the times. The inheritance was not normally something that was given until the father had died, and to ask for the inheritance early would have been a serious insult to the father. Essentially, by doing what this young son did, he was saying, "I wish you were dead." The expected result would have been to punish the son or to even cut off his inheritance. But Jesus' listeners would have been shocked at the younger son's request, and even more so that the father agreed to the request. The younger son's actions follow an unfortunate pattern, and the expression "got together all that he had" implies that he turned his inheritance into ready cash. And the word squandered literally means to throw away, and the expression wild or riotous living implies reckless and immoral behavior. Friends, he went out and he lived a life of extravagance, seeking the pleasures of this world. But like Solomon found in the book of Ecclesiastes, when he tried to find meaning in life by the things of this world, we find that this was short-lived. And soon, two disasters struck this young man's life. First, he ran out of money, and then there was a famine. The result was that he ended up feeding pigs, and he must have been quite desperate to find a way to provide for himself. He must have been very desperate to have taken this job, especially due to the fact that Jews held that there was a curse placed upon anyone who raised or fed pigs. He could not have gotten into a much more sorry state than what he found himself in. Some in Jesus' audience, especially the religious leaders, must have enjoyed this part of the parable. But finally, he came to his senses. He realized that he had been wrong about many things. His initial motive was to go back home and to just find something to eat. But he did plan to confess his wrongdoing to his father. What came next would have also been a shock to Jesus' listeners. Running to his son in front of the whole village would have been humiliating and degrading to this father. The expected result would have been to banish his son or to at least punish him severely. Instead, he ran to meet him. We can only imagine what the religious leaders were thinking at this point. And each element of this story is full of great meaning. The robe would have been reserved for an honored guest. The ring symbolized membership and authority in the family. The sandals showed that he was a son and not a servant. The calf would have been reserved for a very special occasion. Everything about the father's response is a graphic illustration of God's overwhelming love and grace for sinners. You know, it's interesting that Jesus did not stop with the return of the younger brother and added additional details about his older brother. He should have been the one to help reconcile his brother with their father. Instead, he refused to attend the feast and also was insulting and disrespectful to his father. There's actually two parts to this parable. There's the story of the younger son, and we see that this is similar to the previous parables about the lost sheep and the lost coin. But there's also the reaction of the older son, and this no doubt represents the attitude of the religious leaders of the Jews in the first century. There was a lesson that they needed to learn, and Jesus was trying to open their eyes to help them to see that when someone, regardless of how sinful their life has been, decides to come to the Lord, then the Lord will welcome them with open arms. And the message is the same for you today. Do you need to come to the Lord? Then we encourage you to consider these things. And if we can assist you in any way in helping you get your life right with God, please make contact with us at the Pyburn Street Church of Christ. Friends, we want to thank you for joining us for our program today, and we pray that God will bless you with a wonderful day.